So do you want to know the origin of Willy Wonka? Yeah, Warner Brothers thinks you do. Strangely, I don't really understand it. And they've hired Timothee Chalamet of Dune to play the young Willy Wonka from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So Deadline has the exclusive on this, and I come across this news and I just thought, good God. One, when was this announced? I genuinely cannot remember if this was officially announced, officially confirmed. And then I think to myself, how many times are we going to have a Willy Wonka story? Well, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. How many times are we now going to sort of go back into the story of existing characters that realistically we don't actually need to know anything about? We don't need to know Willy Wonka's origin story. It's not what makes him interesting. What makes him interesting is the fact that he has a chocolate factory and, you know, he's a bit ludicrous. He's a bit, you know, bit of a genius, but also a little bit unhinged. That's what makes him interesting. And then his compassion and kindness opposed to his blunt, rude, almost vindictive nature to some of the children that we see. At the very least in the original. So hey, look, here's the story. Here is the story, ladies and gents. We have Deadline reporting now that Timothee Chalamet is ready to head to a world of pure imagination. And I'm not going to do that. As the Oscar-nominated actor is set to star as the iconic inventor and chocolate maker in Warner Brothers and the Roald Dahl story Co's Wonka. There you go. Is it ever a wonder why Warner Brothers Warner Media has been sold? at&t decided to get rid of them? Based on characters created by Roald Dahl, the story will focus on a young Willy Wonka and his adventures prior to opening the world's most famous chocolate factory. Sources also tell Deadline that Wonka will mark the first time Chalamet gets to show off his singing and dancing skills, with several musical numbers set to appear in the film. He's been the top choice for some time, but scheduling was a hurdle that had to be overcome, as training for those numbers is included in the prep for this film. Now, I will say this, good that they're still keeping it as a musical. Look, let's be honest, going back to, you know, a Wonka story is just creatively bankrupt. It really is. Make some new things, for goodness sake. I don't really understand. And it does say it's from Roald Dahl Co. and such. And maybe there's some scrawling somewhere that will tell of a story that, you know, the Roald Dahl had for, you know, Willy Wonka. Maybe. But it doesn't seem that way. And that's a shame. But it is good that they're still keeping it as a musical, because that was part of the charm of the original. It was part of the charm. Now, can I see Timothee Chalamet as Willy Wonka? No, not really. I do think he's a good actor, but I can't really see him playing the sort of ingenious Willy Wonka. And I don't really want to see Willy Wonka's origin story. I'm not particularly interested in it. But maybe, ladies and gents, maybe this is where me, an old fuddy-duddy with a greying white-haired beard, needs to sort of go, hey, this actually isn't for me. Similarly to how I did with the first Jurassic World film. It's like, this is very clearly Jurassic Park for a new generation. Maybe this will be Willy Wonka for a new generation. But I doubt it. I doubt it. But one can hope, eh? Now, they also say that Paul King will direct. Paul King is not a name that you're probably going to be immediately, spring to mind. There's his filmography. But this is the chap who's done the Paddington films. Okay. Now, the screenplay written by Simon Farnaby. This is someone that has done actually quite an extensive amount of work. A lot of British stuff, actually, and has written Paddington 2 most recently, which, you know, he obviously worked with Paul King on. So I can see why they partnered them up together. But it did have prior writers, and this is where you start to be very concerned. Prior writers, Simon Rich, Simon Stevenson, Jeff Nathanson, and Stephen Levinson. Why is that a concern, ladies and gents? That is a lot of writers being handed the script, persistently, consistently rewriting the story. Now, they've also written on it enough to have some form of credit and notoriety, which does indicate, unfortunately, ladies and gents, that this is probably going to be a bit of a mess. But that's not a surprise when you hear Willy Wonka origin story. David Heyman is going to be producing via his Heyday Films. Luke Kelly's also producing, and Michael Siegel and Alexandra Derbyshire is executive producing. No major names there that you're going to go, oh, household name, I know them. This seems like a stab in the dark for Warner Brothers, and I am constantly reminded as to how and what situation AT&T is currently in, i.e. they've sold Warner Media. They've got rid of it. They've merged it with Discovery. And why is that? Well, ladies and gents, stupid decisions such as this. Now, Deadline also say that this marks the third time Warner Brothers has taken on the Wonka story, with the previous versions being adaptations of Dahl's classic novel, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The first one, the best, in 1971, starred Gene Wilder as the Willy Wonka. And the second in 2005 starred Johnny Depp in the role. While plot details are currently unknown, the new pick will be an origin tale of the character and mark the first time Charlie Bucket will not be featured. Oh good God, no Charlie Bucket. We must have the buckets. Now look, it is creatively bankrupt. You do need to make some new ideas. This is just a name grab. But again, playing devil's advocate, ladies and gents, it could be like Jurassic World, It could be one of those films that is really good and is now, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka, whatever, for a new generation. And if it is that, then that's fantastic, and I'll be massively on board. They have got a good cast, at the very least, in Timothee Chalamet. He is a good actor. He's someone which has, generally speaking, shied away from what could be considered, he's Rose, hasn't he? He's been very careful with his choices. And I think that is the sign of a good actor. At the very least, someone with some form of dignity, rather than just taking a paycheck. In terms of what he's getting out of this, yeah, of course he'll be getting a paycheck, but the ability to sing and dance and things like that, and show that side of himself off, if that's what he wants to do moving forwards, I don't blame the kid at all. I think that's absolutely fine. And also never underestimate the power that a young chap can have on young girls. So Timothée Chalamet will be getting that sort of star power in, at the very least, in that young girl demographic. So look, am I enamoured with this idea? No. It is interesting nonetheless. It does show that there are still some dumb decisions being made at Warner Brothers, but this could be a good one. But those are my thoughts. What are yours? Please do let me know down below in the comment section. If you're new here, please do hit subscribe. Look, you stayed this long, you clearly enjoyed the video, so please do hit subscribe, and please do turn that like button on. Now guys who may have just found the video, found my channel, existing subscribers, whatever, I do have a second channel that I am promoting a little bit more now. It's linked in the description box. It's my second channel where I actually basically rebuild cars. I'm rebuilding a rally car at the moment, a very, very rare Nissan Pulsar GTIR. You might be interested. Please do check it out. I'd love to have my awesome community over there. That being said, take care.